record on this.
Oh yeah, every week sounds
Welcome
great.
back to the WPD podcast, episode 25. We are missing the Welsh one today. She had date with an off-plan meal and some rest time because
Yeah,
anyone that knows anything remotely about Kelly knows that she's a fucking mentalist who's on the go constantly. So yeah, she's
yeah,
sitting this one out. So you've just got
yeah,
us
for sure. Back to the original crew.
in it, in it though,
Well,
in
she's
it
just
though.
she's just changed jobs, isn't she? So she's got all that sorted
Yeah,
out and like
yeah,
that. So
and yeah, got a lot on her
bless
plate,
her.
so just didn't want to add to it this evening. But how have you been since the last one?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Just plodding along and nothing too excited now. We're literally like 5 weeks away from starting prep. So it's like that phase where you're not kind of pushing weight up, but you don't want it to drop. So you're kind of just like in that in between, like the pre-prep limbo, which
Yeah,
is absolutely fine. Like
yeah, I've been there since January.
you've been there for forever. Um, so yeah, so and like right now, like I'm quite just liking being on like TRT and my little bit of growth here and there. Like food's in a good place. If I want some extra food, like I have it with Leets, and training's going really well. So like like sometimes I don't know whether you get this, but like PEDs are great and all, but I actually the more experience I get in bodybuilding, the less actually I want to be on them. Like I only really want to be on them one in an off season, at least one cycle, maybe like at a push. And then I just want to leave it all for prep. Like
Yeah,
I don't, if I don't have to be on them, then I won't be on them.
yeah, it's I don't know about you, but there's a certain level of clarity I have when I'm not on
Mm.
that kind of gets muddied when I'm by that I mean not my actual thought processes, but it's more how I manage and feel my emotions.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
everything's a bit more heightened when I may or may not be on.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, like when I was younger, I was like, yeah, PDs, like, yeah, Tom, let's do this, Tom, let's do that. Obviously, granted, Tom was Tom is very reserved with his drug use with women. So, like, he was very much the controller of everything that I used. But, like, yeah, the more experienced I get, the less I want to be on them. Like, I just want to, like you said, like, I, I sense like I get a little bit more foggy when I'm on them. I mean, it's not like anything negative. Yes, I have that reaction to like MPP last year, which is now nothing we're going to use again. But like outside of MPP, I do get that fogginess, but I also get, like you said, that heightened sense thing where you kind of go into the gym and you think you're like indestructible when, it kind of leads to injuries because you think you're so indestructible.
I think it's that, and it's also what you're doing, what you're inputting into your body is having an effect on your muscles, and it is
Mm.
growing your muscles, but your connective tissues and your bone structure may not be ready for that rapid amount of growth. And we both
Oh, for
experience
sure.
that the pain you get when your tendons and your ligaments just can't keep up with the amount of muscle that you're putting on or the amount of
Yeah,
weight. It doesn't necessarily just have to be muscle, just
yeah,
by pushing
massively.
those limits. Like
Yeah, and I
my elbows hurt, my forearms hurt, like
mm,
places that don't normally hurt. Like, yeah, I have my
hurt.
niggles, but just yeah,
Yeah, and I even said this in my last like video with lads. Like, I think a lot of people don't actually talk about how it feels to be like a smaller female with a frame like we have. Like I said, like and like you've just said, like muscle grows so much quicker than the connective tissues like ligaments and tendons. So when we're going through a massive growth phase, it it is not just all like unicorns and rainbows. It is tough on everything surrounding our muscles. Like my knees every time I do a growth phase are really sore. Like obviously
yeah,
we've both experienced adductor issues, and I think we always see like our men in these building up phases and stuff like that, but I don't think there's necessarily that much talk about actual women going through phases of muscle growth where it requires our category requires that little bit more muscle on our frame.
yeah, and it's that constant like monotony of eating, training, eating, training, eating, training. Like
Mm.
the biggest gap I have from eating is when I train during the day. That's the longest
Yeah,
period of time
yeah,
because by the time you travel to the gym, do your session, have a chat with whoever afterwards, get home and eat your post, it's like 3.5 hours as opposed to
yeah, yeah,
two.
for sure, for
That's the
sure.
biggest reprieve. And because I even eat in the night, I mean, it's longer than 2 hours, but that's just how I have to get.
Is that Ruby?
Yeah, can you hear her now? No, it's all
I
right.
heard her a
She's
little
like,
bit then.
yeah, the antler that she is chewing on got knocked off the dog bed and was on the laminate floor. But yeah, yeah, she's full of energy tonight. I don't know. She's had a really long walk as well. Anyway, we digress. I will. That's irritating. I will take it off her. Ruby, come here. Touch. Ribs. Can you
So
hear
nah,
that?
fuck off. Yeah, I
I'm so
can.
sorry for podcast listeners and viewers, but
It's not too bad.
I have a Ruby, and
Oh, I miss Ruby.
well, you're about to visualize a Ruby.
There she is. Little cutie
He gets
pie.
on, man who gets off. Come on, lie down, lie down. Right.
There we go. Oh god, she's so cute. So what were we talking about?
Muscle growth on a smaller frame because we're more or less the same height, aren't we?
I think you're like an inch taller than me.
Yeah, something like that.
Something
But
like that.
you know, an inch. Stop it. An inch in the great scheme of things in height isn't that much
Not
when
really
we're
that
talking
much.
about adding to our frames.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like I tell you what got used to get me. It was that first trip down the stairs in the morning when you get out of bed
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, oh,
God. Oh
and like my
yeah.
knees, I can just feel that every step
Yeah.
down those
Yeah.
stairs. Or
Yeah, mate. It's mad. Like you don't really realize, like, obviously we see ourselves through tinted glasses like everyone does in bodybuilding, but like I was having a chat with Mads on other podcast another day, and it's kind of like, you know, she's I think 5'7" and 74 kilos in her off season. I think it was the heaviest, like something around there. And I'm like, fuck me, I'm 5'4" and I'm like 10 kilos heavier than you. Like
yeah,
it's mad when you compare taller ladies to us and stuff like that. It is mad.
yeah.
But like I think this off season that I've just had has been one of the most successful because I know I'm self-employed now. I can rest. I'm essentially a full-time bodybuilder. We managed to break 84 kilos at my
I was going to
heaviest.
ask what was your heaviest.
Yeah, so 84 at the end of my cycle has been my heaviest. And I mean, depends on how this year goes and stuff like that. I can't really imagine us going much heavier just
Yeah.
because of my frame. I mean, we're talking like getting to the point where tying my shoes was like the most horrendous experience. You know what I mean? Like,
Is
so
that
yeah.
because you can't breathe because of
I
the restriction, or for me, it's how the pressure in my head feels when I bend
yeah,
over.
yeah.
That's what I don't like.
And it was it was like essentially my little gut that I had going after eating food that would get in the way when I
Your
got
food
down to
baby.
yeah, and I couldn't breathe, so I was like, oh, fuck me. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I do like I love off season, like, and I love competing and stuff like that, but I love pushing myself in off season for growth. Don't get me wrong. But I think now with experience, much like yourself, you know exactly when, okay, it's time to just back off a little bit now. So like after that cycle, we had a bit of a cleanup and then we go again without drugs. And it's just knowing when is too far to go for that time. Maybe next year we'll push a little bit heavier, but I don't know how my frame will take much heavier than 84. I mean, 86 maybe at a push, but I don't think that would be necessary, to be honest.
It was
But we'll
when
see.
we were at the Arnold, Broderick, one of the guys that does podcasts with Dave Crossland, we were having dinner with him and he was there just whispering across the table, 100 kilograms, 100 kilograms. You've got to get to 100 kilograms. I'm like, mate, I can't even get to 85. Like, slow down.
Imagine you're at 100 kilos.
My
Damn.
God, I'd be literally like an Oompa Well, no, not the Oompa Loompa. The woman that eats she gets blown up by the
Oh,
blueberry.
yes. And she turns purple. Fucking love
Yeah.
that film.
What was it?
Lo-
Gloop, wasn't her surname? Something like that? Gloop? I don't know.
no, that was Augustus Gleep, wasn't it?
Oh, yes. He
Something like that.
he was too fat to fit down he was a bad nut, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah, it
Anyway,
was.
we're really digressing.
the old Willy Wonka and Chocolate Factory is so much
Yes.
better than the new one.
Yes,
Just putting it out
definitely.
there. Unpopular
Definitely.
opinion.
Yeah, totally. Although I think the creativity in the new one was like that was pretty cool. But the
Yeah.
old one, I'm an originalist at heart.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But
We're
yeah,
really
so
sick of them.
what was your heaviest in off season?
84 point something.
Yeah, makes sense. I think there's
Yeah.
I don't know, do you reckon you can push a little bit more if you had to?
I I think my problem was I did that mini cut when we were potentially going to be able to do the Arnold when we both applied.
Yeah.
And then, that was going to potentially, it was started a mini cut, then it morphed into potentially being a prep, and then it ended as a mini cut.
Yeah.
Um, and I kind of went a little bit full retard
Yeah.
with, but not in a bad way. Like I wasn't gluttonous and I wasn't stupid with my food choices. But what
Yeah.
I did was I tanked out my appetite sooner than necessary. I didn't allow
Yeah.
the hunger to keep rolling on. I fed
Yeah.
the hunger, which meant I then maxed out my appetite in off seasons earlier than perhaps we would have liked,
Yeah.
because we did a 2 week fire break back in October, and that helped a little bit and went back
Yeah.
on cycle, which helped a little bit more because my appetite does seem to
Yeah.
increase with
I
MPP.
remember when you did that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it then just tanked again in January as soon
Yeah.
as I was off. So I think if I take it steadier coming out of prep and don't eat as many extras as I did,
Yeah.
by extras, I mean, I'm talking like if I was peckish, I'd have a bagel
Yeah.
or a couple of squares of chocolate. I wasn't going out eating McDonald's and eating cake. And I did
Yeah.
have quite a lot of anabolic figs, to be fair. Dried figs were
Figs
my,
are underrated as fuck.
they're fucking brilliant.
I
They are
love
brilliant. In
figs.
fact, do you know what? As tomorrow is my last day of off season, I'm gonna get some figs.
I'll fucking do it. Do you know what
Yeah.
also is underrated? Dates.
Yeah.
I love dates.
Yeah. My stepdad always used to like them at Christmas. The
Yeah.
ones that
Yeah.
you get in the little tray with
Yes.
the stick.
Yeah.
Old
Mate,
school.
so underrated.
Old
Old
school.
school as fuck, man. I used to eat
Yeah.
bags of those and then give myself the shits when I was younger. Just I used to like them so much. Fucking
Oh
so
man.
good.
Oh man.
Yeah, so good.
Um,
Yeah, do you reckon you could reach like this is probably a number out there, but like do you reckon like realistically you could reach like 88 if like stress was reduced, anxiety was like reduced, you had basically the most optimal lifestyle for bodybuilding. Do you reckon you could reach 88?
I think so. If I'm more sensible with the reverse, like I said, which I'm
Yeah.
going to have to be
Yeah.
because the plan is to do the figure show 2 weeks after Chicago. So I can't eat myself silly on deep dish pizza and cheesecake while we're in Chicago.
Yeah. 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 Oh mate, that's gonna
Although
be
it would be funny because I just look full as fuck standing in my heels on the
you
figure
look
stage.
so swole. There's a women's physique competitor on stage.
Do you reckon though they may? Do you reckon there's a chance they could pull you off if you were too big,
Nah,
like
no
they do in
way.
the amateurs?
I can't imagine so, no.
No,
Can't
no.
imagine
I need
so.
to buy my pro card. I need to book plane tickets. Oh,
Oh, you haven't
fuck.
done plane tickets yet?
No,
You
no.
gotta get on that because they'll
Yeah,
go up in price.
I know. I know.
The
Payday Friday, so that's my
Oh, I'll
plan on
do it then.
Friday. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and
then
get your pro card because the issue with the pro cards is they run January to January,
yeah, I
so
know.
you don't get. I didn't realize they don't run from say you bought it March, they don't run March to March. They're literally that year,
Yeah.
which sucks, but it is what it is. And it's gone up in price, by the way, just to let you know.
How much is it now?
I think I paid 250, two hundred
Oh
and
no,
fifty
that was the
dollars
same as what it was.
Was it? I swear I
Yeah.
paid 220 for it last year, but then I
No,
did pay
I'm
for it
pretty
halfway
sure
through
I'm
the year. So
250 in 2021 because obviously I didn't buy it last
oh,
year.
okay then.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not too bad. Have you signed your contracts for your shows?
No, because I haven't even bought the pro card. So
Makes sense.
I think we need to explain a little bit about this, right?
Oh yeah,
So
sorry.
when you turn pro, you have to buy your pro card if you want to compete in pro shows. The beauty of it is, yes, it's 250 quid to buy it, but then for that year, you could do as many shows as you want. You
Yeah.
then have to sign the contract saying that you're going to compete in said show, and you can get fined £500. Well, that's what it was in 2021 anyway, if you pull
Yeah.
out that show unless you've actually got like documented reason why.
I think it's like there's like a two tiers, like £500 if you don't turn up with a valid reason, and $1,000 if you there's, if you don't turn up for finals or something like that, there's another jump up in price if you miss something out, and it's something about not turning up.
Yeah,
But yeah, and like obviously amateurs, you pay for every show you enter, whereas in the pro league you don't pay, you just pay that
yeah.
one off. And I mean, we still have to pay for tan and shit like that, but it's
Makeup, hair.
yeah, but it's not too bad. It's not too
No, I
yeah.
think I might do my own hair and makeup for Portugal. I'm gonna get
Yeah.
them to do it for Chicago.
Yeah,
And you want to?
I would say, like, for pro legions, the makeup and the hair ladies were fucking brilliant. Like,
Yeah.
and it just relieves some of that stress that you have. Like, because I was gonna do my own hair and shit, and then in the end I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna let them do it. Like,
Well, I
but
normally just wear my hair straight on stage, so I kind of
I was
feel
gonna
like
say it might be a bit different if you have long hair.
to pay somebody else to do that. I did my own makeup for Budapest.
Mm.
I actually preferred it, but
Oh yeah,
that might be because I'm used to rocking around like this with
yeah,
eyebrows, eyelashes. That's it.
yeah,
So it might have just been because I didn't have to like wear quite so much. I
yeah.
also hate when it's show day having someone playing and fiddling with your face. I hate it.
That makes sense.
I absolutely hate it. And they're real close and
Yeah, yeah. We just showed a breath, like,
you sort of sitting there with your eyes shut and there's no distractions from the fact you feel like shit.
yeah.
Like there's no
Yeah, or you
Instagram
just
in the back of your eyelids.
fucking, like, yeah, it like anxiety ridden, trying to hold a conversation you don't want to hold. You're dying for a piss.
Well, luckily when I was in Poland, my makeup
Yeah.
artist couldn't speak English.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so I didn't have to speak to her. But yeah, it was, and it was one of the first shows where I actually felt nervous beforehand because I
Oh
don't
yeah.
tend to really feel nervous um on show day. Um, but I did for this one because I'd woken up and I was off. I was so off. But by the
Yeah.
time it actually came to the evening, luckily there was some more carbs in me.
Yeah.
So,
You
but
came
I was
alive.
so flat. I remember messaging. Hang on, just cleaning the camera. I remember messaging Nat going, "Tell me the truth. Am I flat? Am I off?" And he was like, "Ooh." It was
Yeah.
like I didn't.
Ah.
I needed to know that it wasn't in my head. I was okay with it, but I needed
Mm.
that to know that it wasn't just up here. It was what I was seeing was real because that's
Yeah.
so. Yeah,
Again, it comes back to seeing through misty glasses, especially when you're that deep into a prep, literally about to step on stage. It's mad. It is mad. Do you never get any like nervousness before stage at all?
well, this leads on to quite our topic for this evening, doesn't
Mm.
it? So we were
Oh,
going to talk
yes.
a little bit about competition mindset. Um, so as a rule, no, I don't get nervous pre-stage.
Okay.
It might be different because Dan's going to be watching me this time, and I've never really had anybody that I care about. I like my very first show, one of my really good mates came to watch, and then British Finals 2019, two of my mates came to watch, but yeah, it wasn't like a partner or a parent or
Yeah.
anybody like that. They were
Yeah.
just mates, and actually their support was it was really good, but there was no pressure with it because they weren't bodybuilders, so they didn't really understand. So that
Yeah.
eased it a little bit. But for my pro debut, I was nervous because I didn't know what to expect from a pro show.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, it was fucking epic. Like,
Yeah. They're
I
good.
stood backstage, curtains down, purple lights, the lights go up, and it was just our silhouettes. We were all
Yeah.
stood on
Sick.
stage. There was no walking out. It was fucking sick. And we just
Yeah.
literally stood there and then, yeah, the show started. Um, but no, I kind of feel this level of calm
Mm.
before show
Yeah.
because from a CrossFit background, obviously the competition is then and there, and then it is with bodybuilding, but the work is then and there. Whereas
Yeah.
with bodybuilding, the hard work's done. You've done all the work, you've ticked all the boxes, you've trained, you've dieted. Now all you've got to do is go and showcase it.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more. I might be nervous because of a routine as well, though, because I've never had to do that before,
Yeah.
other than PCA, which I
Yeah.
didn't really care about the routine because I knew I was shit anyway.
Yeah. Yep. Love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So But I think you feel differently, don't you, backstage?
Oh yeah, I'm a nervous wreck backstage. I don't know why. I always have been. Like some
Mm,
people, even like some of the tanning ladies were like, "How you feeling?" I was like, "I'm scaring. I'm literally terrified. Like I'm so nervous. Like you'll find me like dashing to the toilet every 5 minutes because I'm worried that the pee will make me look bloated on stage. You know, like that kind of shit. And it's just, I think, I think it's because with WPD, like what a lot of people don't realize is there is an individual presentation. You're on that stage on your own, and all eyes are on you. Do you know what I mean? Like, and no matter whether it was, I was nervous for my pro debut because it was my pro debut, but I'm nervous before any show. Like, I was nervous for the British, I was nervous for La Familia, whatever, all the old shows that I did for the PCA and stuff like that. But like, you go on there, all lights are on you, and if you make a mistake, they're gonna see it. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And it was first time in front of Sandy and one of the Manion lads, and it's like, fuck me, like if I mess up now, they're gonna see it. And I admittedly, like someone who was watching the live stream, watching the commentary, I went a little bit too quickly in my individual presentation because I was nervous. So I
yeah,
probably should have held my poses for 2 or 3 seconds longer. But like, you know, I think it's just because we care so much about what we do and we want to make an impact because admittedly UKWPD presence is none. So like
mm,
when you go on stage, you know, oh, there's someone from the UK. I'm one of those for a long old time. Like you want to make a good impression, right? So you
yeah,
feel that you have this a lot of weight on your shoulder because you want to make an impression to the States. And I think that's why it's so important that UK girls do go out to the States because there's nothing really here for us in Europe. Admittedly, there's some in Europe, but the States, we get the respect that we deserve. And, you
yeah.
know, and when you're out being compared, doing comparisons and stuff, it's not so bad. But
No,
then when it gets to routine, that's why I'm even more nervous because I've got so much to think about. And then I just forget my routine and I just kind of freestyle. And it's just, it's just a mess.
yeah, it's
But
because yeah, it's slightly different from the amateur shows where your first introduction to the judges, you are on your own, aren't you? And it's a minute
yeah,
individual presentation, which is separate from your routine. So you almost have to have two routines in your head to an extent.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's just, I mean, the individual presentation is set, like you said, essentially another routine. Obviously, you can do whatever you want in both. I mean, individual presentation is just, you know, you could even have like you're just compulsories, mandatories, quarter turns, whatever, in just a circle. Like it doesn't have to
Yeah,
be anything glamorous.
that's pretty much what I think I'm going to approach my individual presentation. I have like a little, when I do my check-in for Tom, there's a little
Yeah,
way I do it. And I'm probably just going to do my individual presentation, how I
yeah,
do my check-ins for Tom, because that's
yeah,
muscle memory.
yeah,
And then that's one
exactly.
less thing to think about, but just
Yeah,
hold it longer.
exactly. Yeah, like at the end of the day, like they will give you hints at when you need to leave. But if you want to, if you hit those poses and you still have like 5 seconds left, then you can just leave the stage. Like, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think as UKWPD ladies, like I feel that we have a level of pressure on our shoulders because UKWPD hasn't been seen for a long time. I mean, the last one was obviously Rosie Hart and Gemma Lancaster. Realistically, I mean, Rosie made it to the Olympia. I don't
Mm.
know where Gemma plays, to be honest. I don't really follow Gem that much,
She
admittedly.
she looks like she's gonna start a prep soon.
She does indeed. Yeah, I've been following a little bit, but she's with that Hyacinth
Yeah,
Nasir,
yeah, that's
who
it.
was the same as the classical queen on Instagram, Alyssa
Yeah, Kelsey.
Kensington.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
had
I
to
just feel
unfollow her
that we
recently. Alicia.
really,
It's the
really what?
same pose with a joggers rolled down around her ankles, and I just got bored of seeing it, if I'm honest. No
That's
offense,
fair.
but it's
What
also
she's like, yeah,
for
she
me.
just like, yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say for me, it kind of goes along the competition mindset. Anybody, when I'm starting prep, anybody who I kind of look at and almost am inspired by, I tend to mute them while I'm in prep.
Oh
It's
yeah, you
just,
know what? It's funny you say that actually, because I can't watch anything motivational. I can't watch anyone else competing. I can't watch, I used to watch loads of food stuff, can't watch food stuff. Like anything to do with the stage, I just don't watch. I just can't
yeah,
do it. I don't know what it is, but the more I've been in bodybuilding, I don't want to think about the stage. I just want to focus on the now. Like, I just want to focus on the day that I'm doing, and then the next day, and then the next day, and the next day. And then when the stage is there, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love being on stage, but I just need to break things up a little bit so I don't
Yeah,
get too nervous about the idea of getting on stage. And, because there's always this pressure that we need to be better, need to be better, it needs to be better the next year, because now we're obviously in the professional leagues, they expect us to be better.
yeah,
So if we turn up looking the bloody same, like if I turned up looking the same as I did last year, then people are going to forget who you are. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
there's that constant pressure of being constantly thinking you're going to be better, always having things to be looking out for, that kind of thing. So I'm the same as you, bro. Like, when it comes to going into prep, like, I don't really watch anything to do with bodybuilding because I don't want to think about it. I just want to think about me and what I'm
yeah.
doing on that moment in time.
On the flip side, Dan, who's dieting, is like up to here with bodybuilding.
Is
He's
it?
watching, he's watching Bro Chat, he's listening to Seth. He's like, he'll take his check-in photos and he's there on his, like, literally yesterday, we checked in and we then were going to Pure Gym. He does his cardio, I do a few steps, I do a lot of stretching. I do
Yeah.
my abs and my biceps, and then we do posing. A lot of stretching because I'm old and everything creaks when I move. And we must have lost about an hour with him just looking at his check-in photos. It didn't help that I've upgraded to Samsung S23 and I took some
Woo!
photos. Yeah, I took some photos on my phone. So he's then looking at mine
Oh.
as well. And I'm just like, I don't know how you do it. I take my check-in photos, I try and take one shot each pose, and I send it and I don't think about it again.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that's the wrong thing to do,
No,
but I
I,
can't
I
sit there and analyze.
I think that's the best thing to do because it's out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
That's what I say to a lot of my clients: is if you don't want to see your check-in photos, take them, send them, forget about them, because then
And
you don't
he's
even have to worry about them.
and I get it because he is excited because he's not dieted for a long time. So he's
Yeah.
like looking at his feathering in his quads, and every time there's a mirror, and I'm like, dude, if you do this while I'm on prep, I can't cope with it. I just literally I can't. And it's like, look at this, look at that. Look, do you think this? Do you think that? Do you think whatever? And I'm like, just stop, because you stop. You can't. You're in your head. You're too in your head, and
Yeah.
it's like, what
Yeah.
would you say to a client? So it's one of those things that came up on the towards the end of the last podcast, wasn't it? How different people
Yeah.
approach competition, um, and like the pressure we put on ourselves. I wonder if your nervousness and anxiety before stage is because you feel so much pressure on you, whereas
Yeah.
I feel I'm a little bit less seen as WPD because I've not competed in WPD, so
Yeah.
people don't really know me.
Mm,
I've not
mm,
been, I've been figure, but I've not been in bodybuilding as long. So I
yeah.
wonder if that is quite crucial into how we approach it differently. I don't feel like there's so many eyes on me, maybe.
I mean, possible. I mean, you've been on a pro stage before, so you kind of know and expect what it's going to be like. But again, like you
Yeah.
said, it's. I mean, maybe. I mean, I started WPD, and I'll always be WPD. So maybe there is that level of pressure because I don't know. That's a good question, actually.
Yeah.
Very good
Is that
question. I mean,
why?
do you
Hmm?
no, you don't feel any pressure. Like, do you think that? Do you worry that? I don't know. I don't know how to word this. Like, when you go into this pro debut for WPD, like, really, like, where do you think you're going to place? Like, would you be happy placing anywhere, or have you got an idea in mind? Obviously, we
I
want to
would
win, but like,
be happy with top 10. If
yeah,
I'm actually, no, let's rephrase that. I would be happy with top 9 because that would be an
okay,
improvement of my top 10 placing in figure.
yeah,
And that to me would validate the choice I made to switch
that's
categories,
what I was trying to
basically.
ask. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
was trying to get
I mean, when I saw Tom on Friday, he was very much like, wow, I think we can aim for top 5 here.
at.
Because
Yeah,
Tom hadn't seen me in a posing suit for in person just over a year.
yeah,
It was February 2022 when he did that client meetup.
yeah,
So that wasn't, I was still full of water from a bad rebound. I was still very much like a figure athlete trying to be WPD.
yeah,
I was conditioned when I'm conditioned, yeah. that's what makes me different from Figure. That's what I think Tom's kind of logic behind his decision making to suggest I do WPD was
Yeah.
because of condition. But ultimately, back then, I was just a slightly fatter figure athlete.
Nice.
Whereas this time, he literally, I couldn't see his reaction because I'm focusing on the mirror, and apparently he did a step back and kind of an eyebrow raise like he does.
Yeah.
Dan saw it, and then he was like, "Wow, I think we can aim for top 5 here or something like that." I'm not
Fuck
sure,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
that that I would be like fucking ecstatic with. A top
Yeah.
5 would make my year. I'd be like, right, don't need to do anything more. Let's go to Aussie.
Yeah. Fuck it.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Dan. You wanted to go to Chicago on your birthday? Well, we're not.
Nah, fuck it. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
sick.
So I don't know. It is it is an interesting one how we all approach competitions differently.
Yeah,
Because I was
it's
saying to Dan, I was like, you're going to have to stop me wanting to explore Toronto one day out. He's like, I'm literally
yeah,
going to you in our
yeah,
Airbnb with your legs up, so you can't do
yeah.
anything.
That's like the hardest thing is like when we were in Reno, like Tom was like, I don't want you doing anything. And I was like, but I gotta do something. Like, and it's
Yeah.
just like trying to find ways we could go around Reno without walking, like trying to like get like little scooters and shit like
Poland
that.
had scooters. It
Yeah,
was literally
yeah.
like, I am the clumsiest person in the world. I dropped 25 kilograms on my foot 2 weeks ago, and now I'm on a scooter in a foreign country on my own, dieted to fuck. What's the worst
Love
that
it.
can happen?
What's the worst?
You can get
But yeah,
lost.
no, it's gonna be. I didn't realize actually. I was saying this to Kelly that Vancouver and Toronto both have WPD in. I
Yeah.
thought there was only one that had
No,
WPD in, but
both
both of
do.
them do, which is good to
Yeah.
see. I swear last year it wasn't in one of
I'm not
them. I can't
sure.
remember.
I didn't really look at the competition calendar last year because I wasn't going to be competing, so
Yeah,
I
because
didn't want to.
I wanted to do a Canadian show last year, but the one that I could realistically do didn't have WPD in. So because
Yeah,
I think Ian Valier's doing Toronto.
he is. I
Yeah.
broke the news to Dan. I think it was last week they announced it, and Dan didn't know.
Yeah.
He was like,
Oh my god.
"Yeah,
Bless him.
yeah,
He's gonna be fangirling.
he is. He is. He's gonna like money on. He misses me because he's too busy chasing Ian Valier around.
Yeah, but like, did you see me on stage? No, no.
Yes, yes, I did. You were very good. I think.
Yeah, yeah. But what got me with the pro show was they do like a confirmation round at the end, and I had no fucking idea that was a thing. Like when you do your routine and then you do like your confirmation round. So I didn't pump up or anything. I just thought we were going on for awards and stuff. And then you had to be posting again. I was like, what the fuck is this round? So many rounds.
Oh,
But yeah,
wow. Did they have equipment to pump up in Reno?
yeah, they
Because
did. Yeah.
Poland was a bit sparse, and
It was so. I mean, they had buckets of it, but it was all like fucking tangled up and shit.
Budapest had nothing unless you had your own.
Oh, that's shit.
Yeah,
I even heard that
Budapest
Arnold's last year had nothing. No
really.
pump-up kit or anything. Yeah, I heard that from someone. I can't remember who it was.
Thinking about it, Budapest as a show was a bit.
Really?
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
makeshift stage. No, there was the backstage area was so crowded because of all the amateurs were at the same
Oh,
time. And
yeah.
Poland, the amateurs were obviously before the professionals, but it was a
Yeah.
massive hall. There was loads of room, but you had the tanning backstage, you had the athletes waiting area backstage, you had a pole competition going on as well. So you had
Yeah.
their competitors backstage, and it
Yeah.
was literally there was no room to swing a cat. Like it was like huddled. I couldn't lie down with my legs up or anything like that. It was
That's
yeah,
the worst. There's nothing worse than being like hemmed in. That's
yeah,
when you want to just chill out and relax.
yeah. And
Yeah.
like you queued up to go on stage and the audience could see you all just milling around waiting.
Oh, mate, there's nothing
Yeah.
worse than that. Like you want to be hidden before you go on stage, you know?
And they didn't even have like the usual badge numbers. It was like a bit of foldy over plastic with your number shoved inside. I lost mine and they wrote my number on a piece of paper and put it in.
Oh God.
Yeah.
That's fucking hilarious. Oh
Brilliant.
dear. So like
Yeah.
post show,
Mm-hmm.
What's your normal, like, how do you normally feel like post show? Do you normally feel like chilled out, or do you normally like just go home, have a bit of a think, then have some food or whatever? Like, what's your normal routine?
Well, the two recent ones, I was on my own in a foreign country, so I went to
Yeah.
both times. I got a an Uber back from the venue in Poland, and there was like the equivalent of a spa shop underneath my Airbnb,
Yeah.
and I got a carbonara and some eggs, and I had egg on carbonara. Went to bed.
Living the dream. This is what our professional bodybuilders do.
Oh, I did FaceTime Brittany because she'd won her pro card the same day.
Oh, what a
She's,
legend.
yeah, she's this is my friend who's a wellness pro now. Um, Budapest. What did I do? I had carbonara again with an egg on it and went to bed.
What's with
And
the
then,
egg? Like,
well, that's
is
how
that a
you should
thing?
traditionally have carbonara. It should be made with egg. Yeah,
I
it's
didn't
raw
know
egg.
that.
Yeah,
Fucking hell, there we go
but
then.
European packet microwavable carbonara is the bomb.
Oh,
Really
I'll have to
good.
remember that.
Yeah, it's better than Tesco's. That's for sure.
Oh dear. Yeah,
Yeah, and
well,
then they have in Poland, they had like Lion Bar cereal, the chocolate bar Lion Bars,
yeah, yeah.
a cereal version of that. So I had that for breakfast.
Mate, that sounds amazing. Fuck
And
it.
and about three monsters.
Hydration at its best.
Yeah, yeah. And Poland McDonald's is fucking amazing. It's like really good.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
I had
interesting.
that in the airport.
Fucking
Yeah.
A. And that was your last show of the season, wasn't it?
Budapest was.
Okay.
So
All right.
what did I do Budapest? Oh yeah. Yeah. I sat in the airport trying to work out whether I was going to change coaches or
Nice.
yeah. On the previous
Yeah.
coach, I landed in Budapest to a text message from the sort of administrator of my previous coach's company saying that the coaching prices were going to be increased by 75 quid a month.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, and I was like, well, that's priced me out. And I sat in the airport and I was like, so off the back of these two shows, do we need to rejig my training? Yeah, I think we need to reevaluate what areas that are weak now because
Yeah.
you've not changed my training program for 18 months. I've turned pro in that. No, it's 2 years. I hadn't changed my training program for 2 years.
Wow.
I've turned pro in that time. I've developed, let's reevaluate. And I just got the
Yeah.
reply, well, you didn't see the greats like Dorian changing his training program every season. It's like,
Okay.
no, but my body has significantly changed.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you're asking me to pay £75 extra, I feel like me asking you to reevaluate that is just a snippet.
Fucking
And
hell.
the answer was no. So hi Tom.
Bye.
Yeah,
See ya. Hello, Tom.
yeah, yeah.
Oh
And
dear.
I spent most of Budapest the last day back and forth with various people about who I should go to coaching wise. And interestingly, one of my mates, AJ, he was like, oh, so yeah, I've got this guy doing my program. He's just doing my training, but yeah, maybe you should look him up, Dan Bastick.
Hey, Big D.
I mean, I already knew of him because he was training my mate Nat at that point.
Yeah,
But yeah, that was quite amusing.
I love that.
It only
That's
took me another 8 months to ask him to do my training.
oh, and here we are.
The rest is history.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's kind of cute.
That
That
wasn't the
is
reason I asked him to do my training, by the way, because it wasn't because I wanted to get in his pants.
cute. If
You
I
know
get
that as
your
well.
pants, we do my training for me.
Yeah. Although you did get a voice note from my crotch earlier.
I did. Yes, that was a
Yeah.
great voice note.
Yeah. It's because I haven't got my new case for my new phone yet, so I can't stick it on my dash with its
Ah,
magnet.
got
So
yeah.
it was rocking around in my crotch. You were like,
Yeah.
why do you go all silent? Because I went round a roundabout and you went deeper.
Yeah. Just got sucked in.
Yeah. It's not
Oh
like
dear.
vacuous.
Yeah, I
Oh
think that
well.
post show, a lot of what you see in a lot of the amateur scene is get off stage and fucking binge to high heaven. I think I was at a show once where someone was like, just as they went on stage, they were ordering pizza, and then as they came off stage, the pizza arrived, and I was like, get your priorities right, mate. Like, I found, like, don't get me wrong, on my first show, I did that. Like, I was a complete arsehole with my food after my first show, but like, again, the more experience I get, I don't really want anything when I get off stage. I want a good glass of water. That's what I want. And
I
some
don't want to
really
just, I
like,
want this. I want all of this.
yeah,
And I want
yeah,
some Tesco's flavoured packet barbecue chicken, half an avocado, and jasmine rice with a fuck ton of salt.
yes,
That's what I want.
yes. I fancied, like, I think the majority of prep last year, I just craved Uncle Ben's rice, like just some microwave rice. I was like, Tom, I
Amazing.
don't really want anything. I just want rice. Like,
Yeah, just carbs. Give me carbs.
yeah, like literally when I think as well, when you come off stage, you've got that adrenaline dump, haven't you? And you're just
Yeah.
like, I just want to lie down and just sit in silence for 5 minutes. Like,
The worst one, well, it wasn't the worst, but when I turned pro, it was obviously that first show after lockdown in 2020. So it was September 2020. And I did figure then WPD. So I didn't, after winning my pro card, I went back on stage with the WPD amateurs, won my class, and got to the overall. And I'm like, you've just told me I'm a pro. So
yeah,
that to me is baffling. How you can do that, I don't know, because you've just said someone's a pro. So you
yeah,
theoretically shouldn't let them. But then again, if I'd been knocked out, they wouldn't have been able to award a pro card in that category because there weren't 5 competitors.
yeah.
So
That is really interesting. You're seeing that more and more now, is the double pro cards to the same person, which makes no sense. Like, it's, I think someone asked me about our thoughts or my thoughts on it the other day, and I'm like, there's one pro card for one person in the category. They cannot do any more categories after they've won that pro card.
shouldn't be able to, no.
No, exactly. And when you look at these girls, yes, figure is getting closer and closer to physique, but it's still figure. It still has different judging criteria compared to women's physique. So how can you justify giving a pro card to a figure girl and then a physique pro card to that person as well? Like, they're just
Yeah.
it's two completely different judging criterias.
Yeah. It does baffle me as well.
It makes no sense. Like I said, like, I know, like, figure is getting closer and closer to women's physique in regards to muscularity, but there's still that line where that is figure and there's that women's physique, So
You 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 shouldn't have as deep as striations. Well, in fact, if you look at the actual category for figure, you shouldn't have striated glutes
no,
for figure.
yeah,
But
because you got placed lower because of that, didn't you?
what do you think?
Higher.
Yeah.
Higher. Yeah.
So I never realized I had to get feedback at the time.
See, I want to know how you get feedback at the time. Like, you
Yeah.
can just go and have a chat with the judges, but I'm like, yeah, but they're busy. Like, I don't really want to distract them. I don't know.
So for Budapest, there was a athletes gala afterwards,
Oh,
and
okay.
one of the figure chicks I was like chatting to, she said that that would be when you get your feedback, but I still don't understand how, because all the judges are getting pissed, and you've now got a ball, or you've got a dress on, like,
Yeah. Hi.
which I went to Budapest without that memo. So I couldn't, even if I wanted to go to the gala dinner, I couldn't, because I
Oh,
couldn't turn up in leggings and a hoodie. Like,
yeah. Hi. I was number
yeah,
175.
yeah. Hi, I'm sorry, I had my gym gear, but I didn't get the memo. Still got
Or
my
someone
stage
didn't
makeup
invite
on.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got my heels and my stage makeup.
Yeah. That's all you need. That's all
Yeah,
you need.
in it though. In it though.
But yeah, it is mad. We saw that quite a few times last year with the pro card, the double pro cards.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who did. I'm sure, was there somebody at the Arnold that got two, like one in figure, one in physique?
I think there was, yeah.
Mm,
But
mm.
I don't know. We don't talk about Arnold's, do we, Ro?
No, well, it's not the Arnolds this year, is it? Mm.
No, it's fucking triathlete. What a load of
Let's
bollocks
just
that
not
is.
talk about
Yeah.
Arnold.
Oh dear. But yes, that's kind of like mindset surrounding kind of competition style stuff. And
Yeah,
we are all different, and it's good to embrace how different people are, but you know, each to their own. If you do something that suits you and someone questions it, then it's better to just be like, it's who I am. It's what I do. It's what I like
Yeah.
to do. Bosh,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I personally like to explore because it distracts me from not being able to eat.
Do you take the dogs out for like more walks when you're in prep?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'll take a
I mean,
Manu
obviously
out
you've got
normally.
steps to do, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Ruby,
Ruby won't walk far.
she did well today. She did an hour today, didn't you?
Oh, bloody hell, that is good for Rubes.
Yeah. I mean, she's
That
only
is
got
very
equal legs.
yeah.
And so Manu, I think Dan's about to come in because Manu sat with his ears pricked. Um,
Um
Manu loves a rock. He is a rock crackhead, and he will fixate on said rock and push it around with his nose and like
oh
play with it.
yeah.
And today I caught Ruby playing rock on her
Oh
own,
god, that is so cute.
and I wanted to film it, but every time I went to film it, she stopped.
Oh
Can
god.
we just observe the Manu waiting for Dan
Manu is definitely waiting for Dan.
when he parks up? So yeah, he'll be in a minute.
God,
Um,
that's cute.
so what else was on our little agenda?
Have a gander. Have a gander at the
Naviganda.
agenda.
So I was at the osteopath before this, and we got a talking, and something we talked about I thought would be quite interesting to go into on here. And it was around the term diet and
Mm,
how I don't know about you, Sarah, but when I first sort of got into fitness, there was always a sort of prefix to that, and it was healthy diet. And diet
yeah,
was this all encompassing thing, and it basically summed up what you put in your gob. And there
yeah,
was no like, it wasn't so much dieting, it was be healthy with your food choices, be healthy with your diet. But now
yeah,
diet seems to have evolved into a term associated with restriction and, you know, not having stuff, not being spontaneous. And to me, it still should be what you put in your gob is your diet. And
yeah,
then you have phases where perhaps you are more cautious with your food choices and times when you are more relaxed with your food choices. But it's more about adjusting mindset for the phase you're in rather than focusing on restriction and deprivation of foods. Like
yeah, for sure.
you do a phase of dieting or a phase of eating differently to reach the goal that you want, whether that's off season or a prep. But yeah, I don't know. It was just quite interesting the way that we were talking about it, and
Yeah.
this concept that diet is now associated with negativity. And yeah, I don't know what
I
your
wonder if you had like say like 10 or 20 subjects and you just say realistically like they had someone that brought their food to them every day but manipulated their calories in a way, so say they did a high week for 8 weeks, or high week like a higher calorie diet for 8 weeks or whatever, and then the lower diet for another 8 weeks after, but they didn't know exactly their calories or whatever it was. They just ate what was given to them. Whether that would help increase the level of fat loss that they had because they don't know what they're doing.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas if you say to someone, right, you're now going on a diet, they're like, fuck me, like anxiety goes through the roof, stress goes
What you
through the
mean I
roof.
can't have
Like,
chocolate?
yeah, exactly. Like, and it would just be interesting to see whether that trigger word diet does actually affect
Yeah.
someone's rate of fat loss because they don't, they know that they're on a diet now, they're restricting, now their anxiety's higher, now they're wanting to eat that more so because they can't have it. It's like if you give a toy, if that child sees a toy and you tell them they can't play with it, they want to play with it, right? So if you
Yeah.
say to someone, you're on a diet, you can't have chocolate, then they're automatically be like, I really want chocolate.
It seems to be the fixation on the phase
Mm,
rather than the fixation, and this is more attributed to bodybuilding specifically, but I see a lot of competitors where they're fixated on the restriction and the phase that they are in rather than the goal they are trying to obtain. It's
yeah.
like you can't get on stage a fat mess. There has
Mm,
to be a period in between. And if
yeah.
you want to get on stage, that being your goal, then you have to adjust your lifestyle to reach that goal.
Yeah.
So rather than thinking, oh my God, I'm on the diet, I can't have that, it's, oh, I've adjusted my eating to align with my goal.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that would have a different effect. And then with off season, it's like, oh, I'm eating all the food in sight. I can just eat whatever I want. Well, no, you want to put on sensible, progressive, good weight, muscular weight. Yes, for females, there has to be a certain amount of body fat to allow that to happen. But
Yeah.
I don't, yeah, the end goal is to increase your muscle mass rather than eat like a pig.
Yeah.
No.
I think that again comes with experience. So like for bodybuilders that have been in the ring a long time, they know exactly what they want to achieve, and the phases that we're given, we're just going to go through them. Like whether we're dieting off season, whatever, it's all obtained to make sure that we reach that end goal that we want to, whether that be the fucking Olympia or whether that just being winning a small show. You know what I mean? So I think that that's very much. I think this is what the issue is as well, is a lot of these like influencers getting on stage and shit do create some toxicity around the word diet, because they're focusing on that diet, being like, oh, here's your if it fits your macros style diet when we're prepping. Like, we can have a small amount of chocolate because that's if it fits your macros. That means that shows that they're so fixated on that diet and trying to fit in stupid pieces of shit that they shouldn't really be eating on a
Mug
prep.
cake.
Like, yeah, like exactly, like, and there it comes, that fixation of that diet brings that in like shitty connotation that's a bad thing. They're not really thinking about that end goal. Like, I'd eat chicken and rice to the fucking cows come home if it means that I'll place top 10 at the Olympia. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So
And,
yeah, exactly.
and those feelings of hunger and those feelings of want and that like desire to have something, it's all very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just in that moment.
Yeah.
Those feelings will pass. Feelings are transient, and you
Mm.
will, that hunger may have peaked, but you've just eaten a meal, and give it 20 minutes, that will be digested, and you'll be good to go. Yeah, there'll probably still be an element of hunger that it's prep. That's what
Yeah.
happens. But I feel like people try and also cheat the process with things like mug cakes and if it fits your macros.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then there's dissatisfaction with the end result because ultimately they haven't applied themselves to that goal. And
Yeah.
it's either you either want that goal or you want to eat chocolate.
Yeah, exactly. And that was I think you see it more so in bodybuilding than anything else. Like, what do you really want? Do you want to be like, do you want to bodybuild or you don't? Like, there's no,
Yeah.
oh, I kind of, no, you either want to get on stage or you don't. And there's no in the middle, because it requires so much energy and so much dedication that if any of that percentage is decreased, it's going to affect your look on stage. And that's the be all end all. If you get us fat on stage, you know exactly what you've done wrong, because you've just either cheated on your
Can't
diet
hide
or
it.
not followed it. Do you know what I
Can't
mean?
hide it.
Like, yeah, and it's so infuriating. And this is what really annoys me, is the fact that people think they can cheat the code throughout their prep and bodybuilding and bring a package that is a winning package. You just simply can't. You either follow the diet, you train your fucking ass off, and you get on stage and present a package that you're proud of. Like today, I was talking to Tom about someone who I watched on the stage. This isn't diet related, but it's around the same concept. Like who was on stage, I think it was last year. Their posing was so goddamn awful that he was an embarrassment. Like, he would hit a pose for say 2-3 seconds and be blowing out his ass. And it's like, you did not spend 5 minutes practicing your posing because you can fucking see it on stage. Like, and that is so embarrassing, to work 12, 16, 18, 20 weeks in prep and get on stage and not be able to hold a pose. That is embarrassing. And that's why I say to people, like, yes, you've got the diet nailed, you need to pose. So, it's the same with diet. Like, you need to consistently hit what your coach gives you or what you feel is correct at that time to
Yeah.
bring that package at the end, because you can't just be half in or half out. You need to be 100% with every variable you can, like, that is given to you in order to create the package that you want to bring on stage. It's fucking simple. Like, I don't understand why people can't understand the concept of just following a plan. Like, I don't get it. And it's so frustrating. I'm sorry.
So that's your rant. My rant is the people that go around advertising their 8-week, 6-week, 10-week shreds, where they
Yeah.
put somebody on massive amounts of cardio, they bring their calories down, they literally crash diet them to get them beach ready, which they then go on their holiday to Magaluf, end up with a fishbowl like on their head, arse up in a ditch, and they've put all that weight back on again before EasyJet's even landed back in the UK. It's like I don't know. I don't see those as being helpful to the world.
No.
It's like it should be more. I'm being
Mr. Daniel.
filmed.
Oh
Just
dear.
filmed my rant. Brilliant. You got a Manu. Anyway, I don't feel that they're helpful. It's like focus more on having a better relationship with food that is sustainable over a 12-month period, rather
Yeah.
than, oh fuck, summer's coming, better get rid of the winter chub that I put on eating all the mince pies at Christmas. He's still
Yeah.
filming. He's really offered. Stop it. You're filming Ruby. I don't believe you.
Yeah, it just creates these fucking awful habits that you
Yeah.
see in a lot of a lot of young ladies nowadays. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously men get it too, but when you work in it, like a lot of the clients that I have a lot of ladies that I work with. You know, they have come to me with these issues with, you know, their relationship with food, and it's all about, you know, developing their relationship with food in a positive sense, and the fact that, you know, you can have some chocolate here and there, that's absolutely fine. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we'll just cater for it in your calories and shit like that. Don't feel that you can't have something. Like, a lot of the ladies that I work with don't really find, you know, safety in social events when it's like, look, like, you can have this, we'll just swap through a few things around, and then you can go out and have a nice social time with
Yeah.
your family and friends. It's so important. It's so important.
Definitely. Rather than this, you know, there's a place and time for restriction, and that is if you are a bodybuilder going through a bodybuilder prep. If you
Yeah.
are an everyday person, there are ways and means of creating positive diet habits and maintaining a good shape without cutting out all the goodies. You know, it's not that hard, but
Yeah.
I think it's easy for people to associate bodybuilding with negative food habits because
Yeah.
there are people doing it so wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, I think you see more people doing it wrong than you do right. Like
Now,
nowadays, it
I'm not saying I know
it
how to do
really.
it right, but I'm
Oh
giving it
no,
a
exactly. Like, we're not saying that we're fucking God's gift, but like, you know, bodybuilding isn't a joke, and it's not something that people should just pop in and out with. Like, it is something that it's more than a lifestyle. It's literally a job. Like, and you know, people like us who have passion and see these people that diet unhealthy. Obviously, prep isn't the healthiest thing. Obviously, we know that because we've been there, we've done it, and we've said to many people, like, it's not healthy. It's, you know, the stage leanness that we achieve is not healthy, and if we can get
or
out of that as quick
sustainable.
as possible. Yeah, exactly. And it's just, you see so many people like throwing these PEDs around, like, especially more and more women I'm seeing nowadays using more drugs that they shouldn't even be touching. They're seeing the consequences. Their faces are changing. Their blood work's off the fucking shitter. Like, and you think, you don't even, what are you doing? You're just wanting to do it like a small time show, and you're using like Winstrol for weeks on end, Anavar at stupid high doses, like, and even people that put lifestyle clients on huge doses, like, what, they're just life. What are you doing? Like, it's stupid.
I don't know. In my opinion, there would be no place for PEDs for a lifestyle client. Like
Yeah,
they are
sure.
two contradicting things.
Yeah,
Like
I agree.
PEDs are not a tool to make yourself look good in a summer dress. They're serious things that shouldn't just be played with and should be
Yeah,
taken seriously. And I think, you know, it is one of those things that you need to have a real hard think if you want to go down that rabbit hole,
yeah,
rather than just throwing them in casually, because, you know, men are in a position where there is effects from doing that. I'm not advocating it at all, but it
neither.
is a dangerous game for a female to dip in and out of PEDs to get ready for Ibiza or anything like that. Dan's got his hand up, right?
Just heads up, we can't hear what you're saying.
Right, come closer and say that again.
Come hither, Dan. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Right, Danny's so mental now.
I said, what if? Oh, hello. Yes, hello.
Spit it out.
I said, what if I retire from bodybuilding and try to fit into some of its my dreams?
Is he
Wait,
allowed
what
to
did
use
he
PEDs?
I didn't hear that either. What did he say?
So he said, what if when he retires from bodybuilding, he wants to fit into the summer dress of his dreams? Can he use a bit of Winstrol?
Definitely not. Go away.
Could you take just a biscuit? Right, now we've had that silliness. Could you take Manu and the squeaky monkey out, please? Go on.
Just the biscuit.
Just half a biscuit. That's all he wants. Manu and the squeaky monkey are now going.
Oh, blessed.
Banished. Banished.
Banished.
Yeah,
it's mad.
I think the question is, if you are a retired bodybuilder and you want to fit into the summer dress of your dreams, you can do whatever you want because you probably screwed your hormones up enough.
Oh dear.
Oh man.
Yeah. I had someone off the back of my post the other day on PDs message me, and he was like a male coach, and he was like, I've had this young lady, like, well, I say young, I think she's like, I want to say late 40s, early 50s. She was in the military for a long time. Really good, just natural shape to her, to be honest, because she's been in the military for fucking 20, 25 years. And she just wants to take her body to the next level. So he was like, what can I advise that she takes? And I was like, well, send me some pictures of her. See, and I just want a little bit more information on her. And he was like, yeah, this is her, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, do you want the honest truth? Nothing. No point in any point of her life should she be taking PEDs if she just wants to take her physique to the next. She's not going to get on stage. She's not going to fucking do anything bodybuilding related. She just wants to get fitter. PEDs? No, you can absolutely not. Like, for me, people that take PEDs just to look good on a beach, why would you take that risk? Why would you do that? Like, I'm like, I would never condone the use of steroids, even though I use them myself or whatever. We're both here to advise and, grow everyone's education around, or educate people on the use of PEDs in females, and to some extent males as well, but obviously mainly focused on female PED use. But like, there is definitely just, you really need to think about the bigger picture. What do you want to achieve? Like, I started using PEDs because I know exactly what I needed to do in order to step on like, you don't see a natural competitor on the Olympia stage. Do you know what I mean? And that's just fact. Like, and I know exactly I need to use PEDs to get there, as long as I do them safely. And I have, the communication we do with Tom, we know exactly where we stand. We can do what we do. We're covering all bases in regards to health. That's what we need to do to get there. But if you're just some fucking, lifestyle client who wants to just look good on the beach, PEDs are not the route to go down. No way. No way. Not worth it. They're not worth it.
No. And, coming from somebody who unfortunately wasn't dealt with responsibly when it comes to PEDs and the effects that has had. Yeah. Like, unfortunately, I didn't have anybody sit me down and say, you take this could happen. Or anybody go, oh, do you know what? You've been on that already 3 months, perhaps maybe we shouldn't carry on, rather than just up the dose, you know. And that is something that I now have to manage going forwards.
I mean I had a client that she said she wanted me to mention it on here because her story is just ridiculous, where she, I won't go into depth about it, but essentially she went to a coach. The coach didn't really know what anabolics to advise. She asked her boyfriend, and in the end her boyfriend sort of gave to my client to take 80 mgs of Anavar for 3 months plus. And he was like, it's safe for a woman to take up to 120 mgs of Anavar.
I think he's getting confused with Glenn, isn't he?
Probably, I don't fucking know. But now she has lifelong issues that she has to deal with. Like, we've been going back and forth with the GP, getting her bloods checked, everything like that. And she is, for a better word, fucked. And she wouldn't mind me saying that, because she knows herself that she is now dealing with these issues for the rest of her fucking life, because someone didn't have the education or provide the education to this idiot who didn't know what anabolics or how to approach anabolics in the first fucking. It's just a joke, bro. I don't understand.
2 secs. Dan.
Here he is.
What's the maximum dose of Anavar you would prescribe for a male?
Here we go.
It's actually only 50 milligrams a day. But
I don't know if you can hear that.
Kind of.
No. So the maximum dose he's put a male on is 50 milligrams a day.
Yeah. So
Okay.
In terms of what I have done and what they would accept,
Turn the computer.
Risk accept.
That's okay. I can hear him now. If you turn the computer, yeah.
So it's client to client, obviously, and there's a sense of risk acceptance, as there is with any female as well, in terms of virilization. So in terms of what I've actually prescribed, a male before. The maximum I've ever done is 50 milligrams. But with myself, do as I say, not as I do, I've been up to 100 daily. But there are.
Can I just contextualize the question?
Yeah.
Sarah had a client go to her whose boyfriend basically told her to take 80 milligrams of Anavar every day for 3 months, was it?
Yeah, it was basically her coach's boyfriend. So the original coach
Oh,
didn't
the coach's
even
boyfriend. Oh my god.
yeah, didn't even know how to advise. Yeah.
So so the two things. One of them stands true. He's a fucking idiot. And the second one is likely increased libido, and he was exploiting her. I've seen it before. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people's partners put them on Anavar because it increased libido, so they get more.
Damn.
Yeah,
What?
really sick shit. Like, yeah, proper. That's really bad. That's non-contextualized to the client. Obviously, female dosaging is a lot less, as it is with all PEDs, because of sensitivity.
Yeah. What's your? I can't hear you, Bab.
If I were to take a particular oral anabolic prescribed by a coach, and it was 15 milligrams, it was 10 for the first 2-3 months, and then it was up to 15 milligrams, and it was more or less a total of 5. And that's kind of why this thing isn't quite as singing as it used to be. Yeah. But that was what, not even a quarter of the dose that your client was prescribed. That's just mental.
Joke. It's
People
a
out
fucking
there,
joke.
if a coach tells you to take Anavar more than 10 milligrams for more than 12 weeks?
More than
come
8, I would say.
Yeah.
I've personally never run orals for unless it. This is where it gets difficult. Like, I tend to try and avoid running orals for more than 8 weeks if we've scheduled them with the shows that we've scheduled to do. So, like, the most I run of Anavar is 20 mgs daily, and that's like, we'll start at 10 for 4 to 6 weeks, and then we'll bump it up to the last bit of prep to 20. I don't run 20 for the entire 6 to 8 weeks because it's not necessary, and I'm a fucking professional bodybuilder. Like, it's just not needed. And like, even Winstrol, like, I think the most we've used at Winstrol
Isn't that what I said I'd have instead of nipples?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
They got
like,
our podcast fucking... We need to go into that before we finish this.
Yeah. Oh, we do. Yeah. Like, the most I've run of Winstrol, I think it's like either 10 or 20. I can't remember. And that's for 10 days leading into the show, even less. And again, like, you see these women running Winstrol cycles for longer than the men are running Winstrol cycles. And not to mention, at that point in prep, your fucking joints are so dust-like that adding in Winstrol for a longer period of time, it's just going to ruin your joints, and it's just going to ruin your face, ruin your voice. Like, because Winstrol's a seriously toxic drug to your liver and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's just mad. It's mad.
Yeah, total madness. People are doing some
Happy.
up crazy shit, y'all.
Yeah,
so
mate, this industry is mad.
So explain what happened to the nipple podcast episode on YouTube.
Oh yeah. I need to update you on that, actually. So the nipple episode.
This was the first one Kelly was on with us.
Yeah, so she told us about her breast cancer and stuff and not having nipples. It got copyright claimed by the NHL, so the National Hockey League copyrighted a portion of that video where Kelly was talking about fake nipples. And to be fair, they've taken off the claim now, so they were like, they've accepted my because I went against it, and they've accepted that it was wrong and they shouldn't have copyrighted it, because there's nothing to do with National Hockey League in fake nipples.
Nipple hotel liaison. I'm just trying to think what NHL might stand for. Yeah. Nipple hotline.
Nipple hotline. Oh,
Nipple
yeah.
hotline. Oh, Kelly, what we missed out on.
Mad, isn't it? I don't really know how that even came about. I'm so sure it was when we were talking about that.
I'm quite impressed that there's people from the the Hockey League, National Hockey League, wherever it is, listening to our podcast.
I know. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Weird though, weird. Yeah, it was
Very
a bit
odd.
where she was talking about, it must have been the fake nipple bit. It must have been. But yeah, mad.
That's mental.
But they've gone against it now, which is good. So we don't have
I
that
hear
issue
it.
anymore.
Sweet.
Sweet. Yes. What was the other subject we had in mind? I can't remember.
Posing.
Ah, yes, touche. The posing.
Mm.
The posing. So
So,
where did you start your posing journey, Romana Banana?
the first time I stepped on stage, I was
I
one
love
of
those
those
pictures
knob
of you like,
jockeys. Yeah, I was one of those knob jockeys that literally didn't have a fucking clue. I think part of the issue was my coach at the time. I think it's fair to say, and she will probably correct me if she listens to this. I don't think she coached any figure athletes at that point. So she
yeah,
was unsure of posing for figure because she was bikini slash wellness once wellness became a category. So yeah, I completely underestimated its importance. I was like, I've got a Christmas tree on my back, I'll be fine.
yeah,
Yeah.
be right.
Didn't realize I had to do a routine
Yeah.
until like a few minutes before I was on stage. I've told that story before. So my posing journey was a complete shambles to start off with. I
Nice.
tried YouTubing PCA shows to not very good effect. I then started to know a bit more about bodybuilding and the categories and was able to then actually use Instagram. And that has been basically where I've since taken my inspiration from. I have had some in-person and online posing coaching, mainly up for I had some in-person with Barbara Kiss before winning my pro card, and then I went to Rhea and Sid Gillian
Oh,
before
nice.
my pro shows to
Yeah.
tidy up my posing. So far for this prep, I haven't gone to anybody with my posing yet.
Yeah.
I might do, but I'm not sure if finances will stretch to that. So I might be tapping you up for some help.
Nice. Yeah, I'm here.
But yeah, mostly I got the gist from searching Instagram. And I'm one of those people that I learn quite well from videos and watching. I'm a visual learner, so I
Yes.
can mimic quite easily. So I was able to pick it up that way. But how about you? How did you sort of learn le posing?
So my first show, I don't think I think it was very much just a method of, again, watching videos and shit like that. Like I didn't really have a posing coach per se. I just practiced and thought it looked good. I did go and reach out to Rosie Hart, who was at the time Rosie Rascal. That was when WPD was very much a smaller category, like in regards to what the physiques looked like. It was very much the Dana Lynn Bailey era where they were like, they essentially looked like, I don't know, bikini models. Essentially, they weren't really that big. Well, they were big for that era, but compared to women's physique now, they're quite considerably smaller. But I spent a lot of time with Rosie. She was brilliant. I loved Rosie. I think she was, really good. And a lot of what she taught me obviously moved into my poses that I learned as a women's physique competitor. I had a lot of time with Donna Murphy.
Oh yes, I saw Donna as well.
She was really good. She did a lot of my posing for Amelia and the British. And then last year I worked very closely with Leisha from Gat Gym, and she was an absolute, I owe a lot of things to Leisha, to be honest, because she spent a lot of time working with me in person. So I had the last 8 weeks of my prep, I saw her for an hour every week. She helped with my individual presentation. She helped with my just presentation overall. I had Sammy Williams sort of pip in as well. So Sammy Williams is obviously he's like Flo on Instagram. I can't remember his name on Instagram, but here I worked closely with Sammy as well on my routine and my flow work. So like I've kind of nitpicked a lot of bits and bobs from a lot of areas, but I think when I worked with Leisha last year, it just absolutely changed everything in my physique. Like I was able to display areas that I didn't think I could. Like when she said to me, you need to be a bit more flowy on stage. You're very rigid. You need to be more ladylike. And I was like, get fucked, Leisha. Am I getting all ladylike? Do you know, like, when you think about things, you're like, nah, that's just not me. Yeah. And she made me create, or made me be able to flow in a way that suits my personality, because I'm not going to fucking change for no one. Like if you want me to kind of walk on and be all feminine and shit, yeah, it's not me. Like I'm I'm not that kind of person. Yeah, exactly. So we worked very closely on that. And then my routine last year obviously was Dirty Diana, and Sammy made me he opened my eyes to a lot of flow work through there, making it a bit more classical. Like, because in the grand scheme of things, classical bodybuilding is very similar to women's physique, right?
Yeah.
And obviously I went to one of his seminars last year with Ryan Bambalemi. I can never say his surname. And Sammy, and that was really interesting. It was just, it's being able to open yourself up to learning other avenues which can benefit your class. Like I said, it was a fucking classical seminar with 18 other blokes, and I was the only lady there. But it's being able to flow between poses and making things look effortless. Like, you've also got to remember that posing, it is an art, but it's also about hiding your weaknesses. So, and that's something I learned from Leisha was, you don't want a lot of space around your physique. You want those gaps to be closed as much as possible, because it makes you look bigger. You want those gaps to be filled. And like, even posing with Joy, one of my clients, is, look, like, it's all about knowing where the judges are sat, because they're not going to be sat in your eye line. They're going to be sat below you. So you need to alter those poses to make sure that you're being looked in the correct way and you're showing those strengths. Like, Joy is very broad. She's got a lovely, like, Joy's a natural competitor as well. And she's got like lovely naturally capped delt. She's nice and broad. So don't come into a lat spread and lean back. Come into it and lean forward ever so slightly. You don't need a massive, like, because that's where the judges are going to be, So I think, I'm very lucky to have worked with the people I've worked with, because I've been able to like broaden my knowledge with posing and how important posing actually is. But I would definitely say, like, if anyone obviously is looking for a direct one-to-one with someone, and you're in the Wales area, just go to Leisha, because she absolutely changed everything for me last year, and I'll be using her again this year for sure, because it's just a fucking hour of absolute brutal posing. Like, pose round, wipe yourself down with a towel, go again. And that's what you need. Is, posing is conditioning as well, right? It's a different form of conditioning, but you need to be able to hold those poses for 5-10 seconds on stage and look like it's effortless. So
one of the biggest things I started doing in preparation for my pro card win, actually, was posing in between my sets.
Oh, okay.
Just at least doing one round. And when Dan and I first got together, he's like, it's off season. Why are you posing in between sets? And I'm like, because I'm fat and I'm knackered. Like, when else is crucial for building that posing endurance than when you're blowing out your ass because you've just done a set on leg press?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's interesting what you said about Sammy being male and classic bodybuilding. I think there is a lot of overlap between men's categories and women's physique that you don't get in figure and bikini and wellness. Like, one of the biggest transformational things that happened to my posing was Dan basically showing me how to pose my adductors, so my legs now look fucking huge, as opposed to having them straight on like that, flaring your kind of hips and your knees out a bit, getting those abductors through, and it literally like transformed my pose overnight and my legs overnight.
I think with posing, it's not necessarily about making these huge changes. The smallest of tweaks to a physique can make the physique completely change.
The most common mistake I see when people pose, so simple to correct, rear shots, people seem to look at the floor, and by looking at the floor, your torso tilts forward. If you look slightly higher than your eye line, suddenly the tops of your delts become more visible in your back poses because your head's up.
Yeah, I had that discussion with Penny this morning, actually. We went through some posing in our check-in, and I said, like, don't look at the floor, like, because I learned that from you. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I said, like, it does bring your torso completely down, so bring it up, and it completely transforms the physique if you just look up or look slightly like in front of you and up. Like, it makes such a difference.
It's not even your head looks forward, but your eyes look up, and it's such a minute correction, but I don't know, it seems to do the job.
Yeah, and it's the same with hands. I always say to people, relax. Like, you need relaxed hands. It's instead of looking so stiff all the time, like, just because there are some ladies that are like,
There's some people that pose like this and like this, and
they're like making shadow puppets.
Something like this.
What's that? The soup stirrers.
For listeners, I'm flapping my paddles.
Yeah, And what I do find with, and this is no hate on any posing coaches out there, but posing coaches putting clients in really horrendous positions. So like when I've obviously been working closely with Joy and her posing, but like there are some poses that she's spoken to me and that she's not confident with, or she's had changed in the past and she just can't get on with them. We've altered them to suit her physique better and to be more comfortable, because you don't want to be, posing's already hard. So to make it harder for the client because they're in a position that they just do not find comfortable, does not benefit their physique, it's just going to make them go backwards. So obviously, like I said, posing isn't easy. If we can make it as easy as possible and still show your physique off in the way it should be shown off, then we're going to sit you in that position. We're not going to change it or alter it because it doesn't suit your physique.
It's like side try for me. I initially did it with my right leg out in front.
Yeah.
But I've got wing scapulars. So when I go into that tricep hold behind my back, in that pose, you can see the slight corner of my scapula protruding by the back of my tricep, my delt area. So it looks hell of a freaky. So I can't do that though. Can't when I'm lean. I can't do that.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I have to do.
So have you changed your pose to accommodate for that, to change things around?
Yeah. So I now do.
Oh, okay.
The foot, the top of my foot is behind me. Hang on, I don't know if this will work.
This is when we need to learn how to share our screen.
Yeah, I probably could, but I just haven't. Where is it?
Yeah, that's fine. Oh yes, that page is fucking badass, Ro. Anyone that's listening, go to her Instagram. What's your Instagram, Ro?
It's my name, Romana Scottson.
What's your Instagram?
Romana Scottson, IFBB
Yeah,
Pro. It's on there somewhere.
Original.
Original.
But yeah, go on there, look at her posing. That's my name. And obviously you'll see what she means by her side tricep. It's very you. Like I couldn't pull that off because it doesn't suit my levers. Whereas like a lot of people don't realize it is very individual. So I wouldn't do that because it doesn't suit who I am. And likewise, you wouldn't do my side tricep because of your winging scapulars. Like, do you know what I mean? So I do like that though, because it makes you look wide as fuck and you've got really lovely legs. So it's kind of like just benefiting the entire physique. It's really important.
And I seem to fare better with a slight tilt to my pelvis so that I'm not bang on, because I've got quite a blocky waist from CrossFit, whereas your waist is less so, I believe, from what
my waist is quite tiny, to be honest.
Yeah. Whereas mine, I can look quite thick if I'm not careful. So I have to offset my pelvis, twist my pelvis slightly to give that illusion that my waist is narrower than it is.
Yeah.
Damn you, GHD sit-ups.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, mate, they fuck everyone over those GHD sit-ups.
Fucking adductors.
But I learned to do that.
Obliques, that's the word. Not my adductors.
I learned to do the pelvis twist in my front double this year.
Yeah.
And that completely changed my front double. I really like the way that's done. Whereas when I first started posing, I was very straight on.
Yeah.
But again, posing is an illusion. It should show your strengths and hide your weaknesses. So like, even if changing the position of your pelvis, which a lot of people do, like in your back double or in your front, whatever, in your back double, you would want to pop your hips back ever so slightly, right? And it's just the way that you make things look smaller, like your waist. Obviously, you want your muscles to look bigger, hence why you want to make your waist look smaller. So just tiny little changes to your posing that can make such a big difference.
What pisses me off, right?
Here we go.
Is there's a lot of posing coaches out there who have done 1 or 2 PCA shows and are now calling themselves a posing coach. Like,
yeah, I know, mate.
I've done like 2 pro shows now, and I'm happy for people to come to me for posing, but I still wouldn't consider myself a posing coach. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm probably selling. Dan would tell me I'm selling myself short, but what I'm getting at, if I don't have the confidence to say that, then it's like people that have done 1 show and they're now coaching. Like, I don't know, just
the lack of experience.
And they're charging.
I'm very much someone that likes to, I want to go through. Yeah, mate, it's mad. It is mad. Like, that's basically the industry now, isn't it? But yeah, I don't know. It's just all about going through the motions. I'm a firm believer that a coach or opposing coach or someone should walk the walk before they can talk the talk. And it's like, I posted on my Instagram the other day, like, there are people that are telling you how to be more professional in bodybuilding or whatever, and they haven't even placed in a show. And yet we're two IFBB pros that I haven't even figured out how to be professional, and I wouldn't tell anyone else how to make it in the bodybuilding industry. I've been a pro for a year, or since 2021 I've been a pro for. So like, even I don't know the fucking makeup. I would never ever tell anyone that I did, because I'm a baby in this industry, you know, much like yourself. Like, we're both babies in this industry, and there are people out there online saying you need to do this to be more professional in bodybuilding. This is how you make it. This is how you make it in bodybuilding, when they haven't even placed in a show. There's some fucking low life bellend who thinks they know everyone. It's mad, mate. And the whole idea of this podcast today is to complain about the industry.
Another complaint is people that buy something from somewhere and then put it on their stories. Oh, thanks, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, thanks. You've paid them for their product and they've sent it to you. Yeah,
that's a good one. Like, I'm sponsored by B&Q because I have this plant.
Well, like, the explosive fibers shoot, you know, that was an unpaid shoot, but we got clothing out of it. So in that instance, I probably should have said thank you when I've tagged them in my story, but I haven't, because, well, they're using my image, so they've got something out of it. But I don't know, it's just like, thanks, Skinny Syrup, for sending me a caseload of sugar in a box. Thank you. It's like, we paid for it.
To be fair, they sent me one after I turned pro, but I can't use Skinny Syrups because they fuck my guts up too bad. It's just too bad. I don't really like them anyway.
I didn't realize how much bloat they were causing until I stopped using them.
It's bad, I mean, it's really bad.
I stopped using them in 2019. It's quite a while ago now.
Yeah, that's when I did as well. I can't use them, mate.
No.
You fucked me up too bad.
Yeah, gut rot in a bottle.
Gut rot, indeed. I mean, if anyone wants to use them, then by all means, but not us.
No.
Was there anything else? Anyway, was there anything else? Oh, we said that at the same time. Oh, creepy. We're basically the same person, right?
I just said that as you were talking.
Oh, that's weird. The only thing that I can think of is because I've had a few people ask, what is the crack with the seminar going forward? Obviously, we did speak about this on the last podcast, and I put a story up. But what's the position?
So we've been having back and forth over dates, haven't we?
Yeah.
And I think, have we landed on the 30th of July?
I think that's the plan, isn't it? Yeah, because there's obviously... Was it July?
Yeah, because I get back from Chicago on like the 27th.
Yes, I think it was, because it's the FETEX show on the 29th, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Bosh. Yeah. Okay, so it looks to be then.
Yes. I will get in contact with Kingdom and double check that. I'm presuming their studio will be free because their gym wall has fallen down. So
I heard about that. Bloody hell.
It's a good job we did move the seminar, because it sounds like that was, because otherwise it would have been this Saturday, and that would have been
fucking hell. Yeah,
an utter clusterfuck to try and like rearrange that at short notice. So apologies for putting it all out there and then going a bit quiet. We dropped the ball on that one, but
it wasn't our fault that there was a fire.
No, that's not our fault. And it does give us more time to plan and prepare and actually present something that will be even better than what we did have planned. So,
exactly. But thank you to everyone that's actually like registered interest in it, because it's actually been way more than I thought would be interested. So that's really good. And like, the idea of this podcast is to create a community of ladies that feel safe. It's like that safe space shit that we talked about the other day. And like, you know, we are here to help and provide education to people that want it. And if it's going to help you understand PEDs more, understand posing more, understand WPD as a whole, and obviously other female categories, and it's what we're here for, and that's why we want to put the seminar on.
Something to add to that, because I got a question and I can't remember whether we addressed it. I know you and I spoke about it. somebody did message asking if it was all right to bring partners along. Now, we want this to be a female-only safe space. So if your partner is female, then she is more than welcome. But unfortunately, Dan's going to be outside in the car. So, like, I mean, obviously the gym will be open, so they'll be able to train. But we would ask that partners do not come into the room when we're actually conducting the seminar. It's not about like shutting them out. It is a little bit, but you know, you might be comfortable talking about X, Y, and Z in front of your partner, but the other people in the room, that partner is a stranger that they may not be so comfortable asking questions or saying things in front of. So with the greatest respect, we ask, unless your partner is female, you leave them outside the room. They can come to the gym, obviously, like train and that sort of stuff. But while we're conducting the seminar, we do really want that to be a very safe space where people can open up and say whatever they want.
I think as well, it comes down to posing as well. Like coming back to Sammy's seminar, I was in a room full off season in pretty much in my underwear in front of 18 other guys. I can give a fuck, but some women wouldn't be feel confident doing that. So it's, you know, again, creating that safe space for ladies to go down to their bikinis and feel confident that, you know, no male's going to be in there making them feel uncomfortable or anything.
And if you've forgotten to shave your bikini line, no one gives a fuck.
Exactly, that's it. Yeah, and this isn't a shit on guys, but it's just
no, it's not.
You know,
you've got lots of places to go. We don't.
Seminars. Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's it. And we need to just have our little thing, okay?
Yeah,
we
need something
about
for
pubes and shit.
Yeah.
You
frozen.
Exactly, mate.
Oh, I think my internet's going funny.
It's going a bit funky. By the
Dan,
way, mate.
Dan, can you just pause what you're listening to while we finish the podcast, please?
I think she has gone. Oh no. Well, here we are.
Can you just pause your podcast whilst I finish off this because it's messing the internet? Am I there? It's still recording.
Hello! Did your laptop die?
No, fucking Dan's watching a podcast and our internet's like absolutely whack.
Oh,
like I've asked him to stop and he's still listening to it. He shut the door.
Bitch!
He shut the door,
That's
so
right.
that completely bummed out the internet.
Oh, mate, what bellend. That's right. I'll just cut that bit out.
Yeah, no worries.
But yeah, I think we're pretty much finished anyway, but yeah, that's essentially what the plan is with the seminar.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go murder Dan. I can still hear his bloody podcast going on.
Is he listening to the Fuad Abiad? What's he listening
sounds
to?
Like Guy, yeah, sounds like Sister Nino. But
I might be listening to Mutant at the Mouth, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't know, but could you please pause your podcast just while we finish our podcast? Doesn't seem to have registered. Right.
Classic man.
Yeah. On that note.
That's right. Yes. Anyway, so yeah, so if obviously anyone has any questions or anything that's popped up from this podcast, be that posing related or PD related, then obviously message the WPD podcast Instagram or one of us if you feel like you want to have a little bit more of a direct contact with us. Everything's on the WPD page anyway. But yeah, just like, share, subscribe, and obviously
ring that bell.
Oh yeah, it's bam. And
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing this. I'm like,
but yeah, we appreciate the support and stuff, and we look forward to actually getting the seminar in motion to support the ladies and the bigger ladies community. You know,
sweet.
Nice.
Catch you later.
Catch you later.